guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Hey, you Gumpers. Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. And when I say hola, bon dia, alegria, it was Filomena Pascoal who gave us that very special and unique greeting to start the day here as Gumpers. Good morning to you, Jackie, with a shout out already to the Gumper Massive Gumpers, bon dia Gumpers. With an M there, we've got Filomena. I need to pull you up on that, Jackie. she's seen it. That sort of thing doesn't get past her. T-Duck. He's got that right. Well done. Very good. Excellent stuff. And yes, 2 ducks for you, or 5 out of 5 if you like. Yeah, 2 ducks. 2 and 2. He likes his 2s, does T-Duck. Good morning to you, T-Duck. Thank you for being here this morning. We're singing. So go gargle with salt, honey, or whatever it is you need to do. Your vocal warm-ups, please. La, 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 la. Because we're singing the librarian's anthem this morning. We are books. Only kidding. You could be forgiven for thinking that Somos, Livres is we are books, but we're going to find out that it is not that. That's different. Barak's also in this morning. This was the week, of course, where we had birds of paradise swooning in the back garden because of the storm. And there were some terrifying images. I mean, of course, we defer to what's going on in the United States. But here in Portugal, we had some stormy weather with signs blowing over on the motorway, lorries blowing over with Storm Kirk, and birds of paradise swooning like that. And of course, where there's the rain and the wind, there's often a rainbow as well. So thank you for the rainbows that were sent in from the Gumpers. Pete there, and whose was that one? I can't remember now. That might have been John Heimbach's there. But if you want to take credit for that, do let me know. Oh, and in the Portugal Resident this week, this business of Aveiro being the Venice of Portugal is being addressed. Because guess what? Braga is the Rome of Portugal as well. All that nonsense. I've had my bottom kicked about this stuff by Katia Lima, which you'll see in the Portugal Resident if you read that this week. This week also that we're rounding up this week today. The roundup of this week on this Feel Good Friday with Filomena. It was the week we went to Caldas de Rainha, of course. So there's some resources in the Portugal Club about our Portuguese point of interest this week, Caldas de Rainha. Our car of the week was the Toyota Prius, which Colin liked very much indeed. And us petrol heads are thinking of having a get-together in Benedita at Benecar, one lunchtime in November. If you'd like to come along for that, do let me know. The treat of the week was Portuguese wine. I know it's a very big subject, but Portuguese wine, I'm sure, was enjoyed like every week here in Portugal, especially this week. And there are additional resources about Portuguese wine if you want to look them up, including my 60-second guide to Portuguese wine. They said it couldn't be done. Very difficult subject to deal with in 60 seconds. And our property of the week, thanks to the agency and Christopher Coby Higgs over there. And a fine property in the Alentejo. If you want to come to the Alentejo and run a fine B&B, small boutique luxury hotel, that listing is perfect for you. So that was the week that was this week, finishing today on the 11th of October. And a great way to finish the week this week with Filomena. So let's play her theme tune.
Filomena Friday.
I need to learn the language to put me at ease.
Filomena Friday.
This is your vocal warm-up.
Take time learning Portuguese.
Filomena Friday.
I get confused nearly every day.
Filomena Friday.
How do I know which
Verb is okay.
Filomena Friday.
Practice those words so loud and clear.
On a Filomena Friday.
On a Filomena Friday, it's a day of cheer.
It sure is.
Filomena Friday.
Tripsforbrits@gmail.com.
Okay, here she is. Let's bring her onto the screen. Hola, bom dia.
Olá, bom dia, tudo bem?
Muito bem, obrigado. Muito bem. Contigo?
Também, obrigada.
Excellent. Lots of people here to see you this morning. We are singing again, aren't we? It's not really the librarian's anthem, is it? Somos Livres. You can
It's not
understand why
really.
people might think that.
The difference is just one little vowel, right?
One little vowel. What's that between friends? Well, it means the difference between singing "We are books" or "We are free." Of course, Somos Livres is the Somos. Yes, Somos.
Somos livres, not somos livros.
Fell straight into that one vowel trap.
Not livros, but livres.
There you go, Livres. We are free. A very important song, of course. Could you? We'll come back to that because I think it's always great fun to finish with the song, isn't it? So in the second half hour, we'll do the song and we'll take your questions Q&A style in the first half hour. But before we do that, and to set things up for the second half hour, this song is meaningful. This has a special place in your heart, doesn't it?
Yes, and beijinhos, Owen. Yes, it's a very special song because it was a song from 74, so 1974, when the revolution happened. So we are celebrating our 50th anniversary of the revolution. So we started to be a democracy after the dictatorship that was awful, right? And so I remember singing this with my friends at school. You know, we used to sing this very often because it is a song that is, you know, it's a cheerful song that tells us that we are free. I mean, we are no longer under the dictatorship. So I think the poem from you know, Irmelinda Duarte, as you have it there, and so it's a lovely poem, and it was played, it was performed in a theater play at the time in 74.
Was it? Okay.
But then you know, it spread quickly throughout the country, although it was a theater play at first in Lisbon, but then it spread throughout the country, and of course people were happy not to have the dictatorship anymore, and so this song became almost like a hymn, you know, a song symbolizing the end of dictatorship. We have sung before here on the show. We have sung some songs from the revolution time, right? So before the revolution, when the revolution happened, but this time after the revolution.
And one that maybe kids will be more familiar with, because it's very cheerful, lovely little number as well, isn't it? Somos livres, somos livres. You can imagine children.
Yes, yes, it is a cheerful song, and I think it conveys a feel-good Friday moment.
Absolutely. And there she is. There's the lovely Irmelinda Duarte. She was a movie actor, wasn't she?
Yes, she was an actress, yeah.
Yes, yeah, okay. And there, I think on guitar was Joaquim da Silva as well. And in the video, I'll put the link to the video so you can watch and practice more after the show. But there's a very helpful video that goes with this. It's got some really lovely historical sort of cultural referencing, of course, from the time. So you might like to watch that a little bit later on. Excellent. So we'll be singing later, and I will put the lyrics up on the screen. And we'll have some fun doing that this morning. Bonjour. And he's always got a very either traditional or regional turn of phrase, hasn't he? Not, Mr. S. Bonjour.
Bons olhos. Bons olhos te vejam.
De vejam, tia Filomena. Cumprimentos de sul da Franca. So he's in the south of France. What does his greeting mean there? Like a good look?
Bons olhos te vejam is an expression that we use when we are glad to see someone. Literally, good eyes see you, but
That's
it
great,
means,
isn't it?
yeah, but it means glad to see you. Bons olhos te vejam.
Very good, very good. Okay, so that's a nice one. If you want to just sort of be a little bit superlative when you haven't seen somebody for a while and make a bit of a fuss, give them a kiss and a hug and say bonjour de vejam. Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. S in the south of France. Sul de Franca. That's an appropriate turn of phrase, isn't it, as well? Sul de Franca? Or would that be
França?
France, I beg your pardon, yeah.
Sul de França.
Okay. Excellent. Why would that be Sul de França and not França do Sul?
Because it's not well, it's the south of France. It's
Yes.
not
Literally.
France south.
French of the South. Okay. Yes, I guess the França do Sul might be the French of the South part of the country, maybe. Okay. All right. João Ernesto is in, and yes, James was all over it. That's Livres, not Livres.
Mhm.
Very much. Bom dia todos. Despite the bad weather, so that's still coming in for certain parts of Portugal.
It's not very bad here. Not very bad here.
It's past central. That's good in Miranda de Corvo this morning. And I blame Googly. I can always. Do you get this with people's homework? Do you say it was Google, not me, Filomena?
Yeah. Yes. Of course.
Sorry, guys.
You are forgiven, Jackie.
There you go, Jackie. Easily forgiven. Portuguese wine, $1.99. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So there's a good review. Thank you very much. Squire of the Shires, bom dia todos. Sim, chego a sexta-feira. So what? Happy Friday, like a full Friday. Could you give us a little bit more background on that? Why would that turn of phrase be chego a sexta-feira?
Well, first of all, the way you read chegou, you have
Yes.
to stress the final part of the word in this case.
Chegou.
Chegou, because
Chegou.
it's a word that finishes with a U. When a word
Alright.
finishes with a U, you stress the end and not the one before the last as usual, right? The
Who
syllable
doesn't like
before
to
the last.
stress their end first thing in the morning? Okay, very good.
So, chegou a sexta-feira. So, yes, Friday has arrived.
Very good. There you go. It's finally here. Good. Bon dia, Lady Filomena from Antonio Effort.
Hola, Lord Antonio.
Your teaching assistant is ready.
My assistant. He's an excellent assistant.
He's very good, isn't he? He
very
fills
good.
the role very well. So thank you, Antonio. And we'll have a look
Obrigada,
at,
Antonio.
yeah, we're gonna have a look at a few of your Portuguese sayings as well, because pretty much every day they are still coming, Filomena. Can you believe it? The Portuguese sayings at the Portugal Club just keep coming, and Antonio keeps finding them. T-Duck started it, and Antonio won't stop, and we're glad of that. By the way, Neil Jean Jackson, which isn't easy to say.
Hola,
Well,
ciao.
Owen, of course, as well. Yeah, Antonio's
Greetings.
upset with the Squire for sending British weather to Portugal. It's like American weather almost. Nunu's here, I believe. Good morning, everyone. Ruta, didn't say hi to you yesterday. Thank you for being here yesterday. Maybe that's you as well today. And look at this for a minute. Only recently I found out that the 1143 Treaty of Zamora with the Kingdom of Castile, granting independence to Portugal, was also signed on October the 5th. So there you go. That's as well as being the Dia de República is also when the Treaty of Zamora was signed as well.
Beginning of Portugal.
Yes. Any questions, anyone? Come on, get him into the chat. Filomena's here once a month, and she can help you out with your Portuguese skills, but also insight into the culture as well. Oh, very rainy day in Sintra from Windsurance. Yeah. And Bob Bon
Not here.
Not here. It just looks like the skies might open here, Filomena. The silver coast is looking it's a grey coast, not a silver one.
Here it's sunny.
Good. I was really pleased for you. Send some of that our way, if you will. And Barak is here, Lord and Lady Barak, bon dia Filomena as well. And it's perfect weather to watch movies. Well, watch Good Morning Portugal, and then you can watch the movies. And Nunu recommended a few of these old-time movies to us, which was very helpful. Black and white Portuguese movies. They were really good fun.
They are.
A few of those. Yeah, so that's I'll stick that list as well up online as well, so you'll be able to get those links to the old school Portuguese black and white movies. Any themes from you this week then, Filomena, on what people are learning or struggling with the Portuguese language from your point of view on the front line of teaching the language?
Well, there are always a few things, like, for example, the prepositions, the right preposition to use, and because it's always the hardest part of a language, in my opinion, are prepositions. In my opinion, yes, because the languages at least the languages that I have studied, for me, the hardest part was always to know what preposition to use.
Right. Okay. All right. And do you have any examples with Portuguese that we might need to be aware of?
Well, the old story that we have covered already, the para and por, for example.
Yes.
Right. Yes. When we should say por, when should we say para, etc.
Okay. The one that immediately comes to mind is when I'm waiting for food in the restaurant, I'm saying para me. That's the correct application, isn't it?
That's right.
I We've got to get those vital things in the right order. So yeah, I'm glad I got that right in the restaurant there. Good. Sometimes things go a bit wonky with the translations, and I was looking this morning at I've come across once a day probably. We should allow for at least once a day and not give yourself a hard time for that. I'm looking at a new craft beer company. I mean, I'm giving all sort of giving a lot away about myself, I think, this morning, talking about receiving food and now drinking craft beer. There's a fantastic craft beer maker that I've just discovered. Their beer ended up in my local supermarket, Nortada, and they come out of Porto area, and they've got a very interesting strapline. Nunca... Oh, well, there we go. There's a para there, I think. Para ti que nunca te deixes levar pelas correntes. So I looked that up, and it says, this is not especially helpful, I think, with Google sometimes. Never you leave to take fur chains. Why would a craft beer company be concerned about my fur chains?
Yeah, that's a funny translation.
Yes. What are they talking about?
So,
Norta. I can't mute their video. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, we'll play that in just a minute because I think it's a funny video, and it's a sort of whether we'd rather have. But yeah, what are furry chains?
Nunca te deixes levar pelas correntes is don't let yourself go with the flow. But
go with the flow.
Yeah, but it's not to go with the flow because it's a new brand, right? Instead of drinking the same as everybody else, don't let you go in with the flow. So, but correntes here is in the sense of tide of the sea tides or flowing.
Well, there's an example of how it can go horribly wrong. Then, I mean, I'm not saying when you've translated it, I'm going, yes, I understand it now because I can see absolutely no connection with going with the flow and furry chains. However, if I ever do need to order some furry chains online, I'll know exactly what to say now. So, if it's okay with you, Filomena, let's see how much comprehension we can get, or our friends watching can get from watching this commercial. And as you've said, watching Portuguese TV is obviously a very good way of getting a grasp of the language and letting you sink in. So let's see what your comprehension is like. How much of this advert do you understand, folks watching at home?
Sopras dos confins do mar. E por mim, podes continuar a soprar. Achas que aborreces toda a praia? A mim não. Estava uma tarde quente que agora está gelada. E então? Nortada, a cerveja brava.
No idea really, apart from being on the beach and being there when it's hot. So I'm guessing from what you said, don't go with the flow, have a cold beer instead.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it was hot and now it's cold because the cold beer, right? Yes, because of the cold beer.
Yeah. And a lovely então in there as well. That's a beautiful way. It's a lovely word in Portuguese, isn't it? Então. I think a lot of people use it as like a way of starting a new sentence.
I use it quite a lot when I start my lesson. Sometimes I say então. Yeah.
It's not unlike the American use of the word so, is it? I mean, that's the words so, like, and right are very common, aren't they? When we're hearing Americans speaking, often starting every sentence with so. Então is very similar, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. So I enjoyed that. Thank you, Nortada. Great to make your acquaintance in the local supermarket. I shall be drinking you again. Right. Over to the questions now. I've noticed many times those learning English as a second language struggle with the prepositions.
That's right.
Just as I struggle with the prepositions in Portuguese. So there you go. Yeah. On, for, etc. Thank you very much, James. And Joao telling us with the weather app has gone wonky for him. It's quite a nice sunny day so far, but it's supposed to be 90% chance of. Well, we've got it here. So you're kind of right.
The day is just beginning. It might change.
Give it time. You and your swooning bird of paradise there. Definitely raining here now. It's absolutely pouring down. But you're right. It's early, and it may well be sunny again. We've had days this week where it's been gloriously sunny. I've even had a swim in the sea, and then completely peeing down with Kaishi Gatosh as well. Okay, and a question from Bob then. Great to see you, Filomena. Question: when living in a working neighborhood, how can we get used to know our neighbors' smiles, nods, and waves? We know our speech improves with use. Filomena, is inviting a neighbor in for a coffee a good approach or culturally uncomfortable? We talked about this on the Dream Team last night, actually. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you feel like inviting a neighbor for a coffee, why not? And then either he accepts or not. I mean, you can have a yes or a no as an answer. But yes, of course, you, in my opinion, getting on well with your neighbors is essential for you not to have a stressful life with arguments and things like that. But so of course, if you feel like to invite your neighbor for a coffee or a beer or something, why not?
Yeah, well, this is exactly what we're talking about on the Dream Team session last night, about how to get to know your neighbors. And we started talking actually about security firms and alarms, which are not very, although they're sold quite hard by some people knocking on your front door. They're not very popular here, and I think it tends to be more neighborhood watch, and this is all part of that, isn't it?
Yes, your neighbors are the best alarms.
They are, aren't they? I mean, I remember the guy, he's a foreigner who lived over the road from me. He sent me a WhatsApp, says, a guy coming in and out of your house, just to let you know. It happens to be somebody who was a friend of ours who was staying, but isn't that great? And that's the Portuguese spirit, I think.
Yes, I've also had that. I had, for example, once I left my key on the door. I forgot the key in the lock outside, and my neighbor called me after a while when I left, and then she called me. Oh, you left your key in the door, and I said, oh, could you get it for me, please? So
I did that with my car yesterday. Sadly, nobody broke in and tidied it up, but we live in hope with that. Yeah, my car keys were just there in the car. And the window was open as well. It was fantastic. I was with my daughter. So I think I left the keys in the car. I was very silly, Daddy. I said, I don't think it's going to be a problem, which is a lovely thing to be able to say. And Gilda was saying last night to Filomena that they have a WhatsApp group in their block, 12 families in their apartment block, I think. And when somebody new moves, it is a great idea, isn't it? Somebody new moved in, or when somebody new comes in, they send a welcome message and put them in the WhatsApp group and say, the last person who moved in here baked everybody a cake. It's not actually true. It's not actually true, but that person then feels obliged to bake everybody in the building. So there you go. You could use that as well, Bob. And the other concern, I think, is if you do invite somebody in, you're never going to get rid of them. And I don't think, generally speaking, Portuguese people are like that. I think they're quite private and light touch, just a nod and a hello. And it's only when there's a crisis do you feel that sense of connection and neighborliness. Otherwise, people tend to go about their business in their own way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, it depends a little bit, of course. There are people and there are people. I mean, it depends on the people.
There are busybodies as well, okay. So how do you get rid of someone who won't go?
But also depends on your relationship with your neighbors or with other people. I mean, it all depends. But yes, of course, I mean, you could ask, for example, a neighbor to come in and have a coffee or a beer, but I'm sure that you won't stay there for, the whole afternoon.
Yes. You could also say that is your annual coffee. Thank you for coming. See you again
See you next year.
Unless there's any emergencies, and then we'll chat. Olá, Manuel Ferreira is here. Notada. Também a nome que damos aqui na região do Porto, por vezes muito vento vindo do norte. Okay, so there's a reference there because it's a very windy praia.
Yes,
that was mentioned. Muito usado quando na praia faz muito vento e muitos dizemos esta nortada. Yara, what does that mean?
Okay, I'm not going to translate the rest of the sentence.
Are we going back to wind again?
No, we are going back to swearing north.
Oh, stop it, Manuel. How rude when Lady Filomena is here. Let's not
No,
be doing.
no, but Nortada is right. Nortada, it's not just in the north. Here when it's very windy, and especially from the north, of course, we call that wind Nortada. Yes, it's a very strong northern wind.
Which reminds me of the windy prisoner that we talked about as well.
Well, okay.
Let's move on. Let's move on. We found sharing fruit, jam, and vegetables as a great way of getting to. Of course. But sometimes I think the
Yes.
Portuguese are very special with this, almost like ninja neighbors, where things get left on your doorstep. Not wanting to impose, but here's a gift
Yes.
for you, and there'll be something left there. The really good ninja neighbors leave it on your kitchen table, and you've no idea how it got there, but they're the best ones. Portuguese people are very private, says Gemini. They very kind, but they will pop in, but don't stay for long. They also respect your privacy. That's what I was hinting at. I think you might not know that, Filomena, as from a foreigner's perspective. I think that may be a
Yeah.
bit more obvious to us, but I that feels right to me. Very sort of respectful and very private.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Yes.
Maybe not your neighbours.
No. I'm just thinking. Yeah, maybe you are right. from a different perspective, probably
Yes.
you're right. Yeah.
I live with an open door policy. My kettle is always hot, and there's always biscuits and a welcome for everyone. Bring that to Portugal. See you soon. But that's how most of us roll on the canals. Okay, so that's canal life there. I won't read that then. And I think I know what that
No?
means now. Okay.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
not.
well, okay. It might not be a swear word in the north because they use it all the time, so they don't consider it a swear.
It's just a normal word. I think we know what that stands for as well. The CRO. We have an open door as well, says Bob. But other than immigrants, nobody knows. There you go. There's the respect and privacy. Just because you've got an open door doesn't mean local people are going to walk through it. It's very good. You'll
No.
have to invite. So I hope that helps, Bob. With getting to know your neighbours. Yeah, definitely invite them in for a coffee, and a good way to get started. But always smile, and as usual, Filomena, right? The bon dia, the boa tarde, the
Yeah,
boa noite,
smile.
always goes down well, and you can
Yes.
just leave it at that. It's just enough to say, "I'm here. How you
Yeah.
doing?" And then you can move on. Very good.
Just
Okay.
a smile, wave, and that's it. You don't even have to speak. It's
Well,
just smile
isn't
and
that-
wave.
Isn't that a relief? Sometimes. Okay. Very good. Okay, so we've got this lovely song that you're going to be sharing with us this morning. We are free, of course. Some events to come up from the background a little bit later on the God Squad tip of the day. But let's do this song then, Filomena. So how are we going to do this morning? Shall I get the lyrics up on the screen? And you're going to sing it through one time, I guess, with us.
Yeah, I mean, I could sing it once, the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And then we can at least learn the first stanza because it's the easiest one maybe to learn, and also the one that is more popular.
Yes, and there's some fab vocabulary in there as well.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because it's a reference, of course, here. I think it's more to poppies possibly than the cravos. Maybe I think cravos might be in there. That's the carnation, isn't it? The cravos.
Yeah,
But-
carnation, cravo is the carnation, yes, but poppies here because it symbolizes also the freedom of growing in the field, because
Absolutely,
a poppy
yeah.
grows everywhere in the field. So
Yes.
it's that's symbol of freedom in the field.
Yeah, no, totally makes a lot of sense that, and that's just kind of a universal emblem, isn't it?
Mhm.
Now, cravinhos, however, is a clove, isn't it? And I wonder, is it because of the shape then that we have cravos and cravinhos? It's almost like the clove is the little carnation.
Yeah, it is. It resembles a little one.
Okay, all right. So that's why there's that connection. I don't think cloves are related to carnations, are they? I think we'll have a horticulturalist who might be able to explain that. And just before we sing, we put food and water outside in small bowls and have several of little neighbours that visit. Okay, very nice. Pets too, making friends with the neighbourly pets. I did get to know a neighbour a bit last night by catching a loose dog. There you go. That's another good way of getting to know your neighbours. And networking it in who it might belong to, successfully reunited with the owner. Very good.
Yeah, that happens a lot with my next door neighbor. Sometimes, his dog comes or he's in the street and I get him in, in because it's
Yes.
a female. Or sometimes my dog goes out without my permission. He goes out, and then my neighbor gets him. So we are always exchanging dogs, let's say.
Very good, very good. Actually, yeah, that happened to me the other day. My big dog Jimmy, he came home on his own, and my neighbour gave me a nod to say, "Oh yeah, he's back at your place already." When I'm in an area and no mates about, I sit on a towpath with the cattle and interfere with the public. That's not against the law yet, by getting everyone who passes to share pleasantries. Very good, excellent. Okay, so here we go then. Ana Melinda Duarte. So this is performed by her. Did she write it as well? I'm wondering.
Yes, I think so.
She
Yes,
wrote it as
I
well.
think
Wow,
she.
what a woman!
Yeah. Hmm.
What
Yeah.
a woman! Fantastic. Okay, so Somos Livres. Okay, so if you would take us through it, I think that it's quite catchy, isn't it? So it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
And we know, don't we, Filomena, who is singing and who is not singing. So you're big trouble for anyone who's not singing this morning. So
Yep.
make an effort. Sing like no one's listening. Okay, and
So-
for some of you, definitely make sure no one is listening. Clear your throats, please.
So, of course, we don't have music, but we can make our own music. So, the song goes: Uma gaivota voava, voava, asas de vento, coração de mar. Uma gaivota voava, voava, asas de vento, coração de mar. Como ela, somos livres de voar. Como ela, somos livres de voar. Uma papoila crescia, crescia, grito vermelho num campo qualquer. Uma papoila crescia, crescia, grito vermelho num campo qualquer. Como ela, somos livres de crescer. Como ela, somos livres de crescer. Uma criança dizia, quando for grande não vou combater. Uma criança dizia, quando for grande não vou combater. Como ela, somos livres de dizer. Como ela, somos livres de dizer. Somos um povo que cerra fileiras, parta à conquista do pão e da paz. Somos um povo que cerra fileiras, parta à conquista do pão e da paz. Somos livres, não voltaremos atrás. Somos livres, não voltaremos atrás.
Fabulous. Absolutely lovely. Love having a sing-song with Filomena on a Feel-Good Friday with Filomena here, of course. And I hope you are singing along. That's why there's not much in the chat, because people were singing along. And
yes, people are busy now.
Very good. Now, I wonder, we'll do it again, and we'll expect and anticipate participation and people singing this throughout the land. And it is a bit of an earworm, isn't it? I think for the rest of the day, people will be singing the Somos Livres bit for sure. And it does have a sound of the time. It does sound like an anthem for a revolution, doesn't it? This is what the little children were singing.
It was after, yeah.
Yes, okay. Lovely, Filomena.
Saying that now we are free, right? Now we are free. And so, for example, like a child says, when I grow up, I won't fight, because we had the war. Remember the war for 13 years, and that was one of the reasons why the revolution was so successful, because people joined in immediately. Everyone joined in because everyone was fed up with all the years of the war, and young men dying in Africa fighting for the motherland. And so that is also why one stanza says, when I grow up, I won't fight.
That's
And
lovely. Can we go through it line by line, just as a little bit of vocabulary and obviously the cultural insight that you mentioned?
Yes. I mean, on the next page that I sent you, you have the translation. So, uma gaivota voava. So a seagull was flying, asas de vento, so wings of wind, coração de mar, heart of the sea.
Lovely.
Como ela, like her, because of course, like her, because gaivota for us is a feminine, so it's like she, right? We don't have it in Portuguese, so it's like her. We are free, somos livres de voar. We are free to fly. Then uma papoila crescia, a poppy was growing. Grito vermelho, a red cry, a red shout, num campo qualquer, in some field, in any field. Como ela, somos livres, so like her, the poppy, again a feminine word, we are free, somos livres de crescer, we are free to grow. Uma criança dizia, a child was saying, quando for grande, when I grow up, não vou combater, I won't fight, I'm not going to fight. Como ela, like her or him, the child, somos livres, we are free, somos livres de dizer, we are free to say. Somos povo que cerra fileiras, we are a people who close ranks, because of disunity, that's why the revolution was so successful, right? A parte à conquista do pão e da paz, so setting out to conquer for bread and peace, right? So conquer bread and peace. Somos livres, so we are free, não voltaremos atrás. We will not turn back, we will not go back. So this is the poem by Irmelinda Duarte, and she sung it, as I said, in a theatre play in Lisbon called Lisboa 72-74. That was the title of the play, Lisbon 72-74. And so and because people liked this song so much, it became very, very popular. And then later she has issued the single with this song.
Yes, yeah, very good. Absolutely love it. And there's some interesting verb action in here, isn't there? There are wases and going to be's. So would you like to say a little bit more about that, given that this gives us the opportunity to do so?
I told you before, I can always use the song to teach some grammar as well.
Yes, please do.
Because we have the verbs voava, crescia, dizia. All these verbs are in the pretérito imperfeito do indicativo. So
of course they are.
So this is a past tense that at the end of the level A2, so people who do the courses A1, A2, so at the end of the A1, A2 level courses, by the end of the course, they should know this tense, the pretérito imperfeito. It's a bit different from the past simple, pretérito perfeito, we call it, because pretérito perfeito is just something that it's one-off. So it happened and okay, and finished. So you could say, ontem eu fui ao supermercado. Yesterday I went to the supermarket, and that's it. I mean, it's a sentence in the past. But with this pretérito imperfeito, there is a lot to say about pretérito imperfeito, because in English you can translate it in several different ways. You can translate with used to. So in some situations is, for example, with the word vivia, for example, we have dizia here, I used to say, or was saying, but dizia, vivia is also another verb with the same ending. And so you could say, quando eu vivia no meu país. So in English, you can say when I lived in my country, but in Portuguese, it would be when I used to live in my country, opposed to do now. So now you don't live in your country anymore. So you could say, quando eu vivia no meu país, and then go on with this pretérito imperfeito, because you are telling us what you used to do when you lived in your country.
Yes.
So this is a sentence, a tense that is that can express that when you are, let's say, telling a story, but in the past, you use this pretérito imperfeito. So, for example, imagine that even the stories for children, that you start with once upon a time, right?
Yes.
In English, you start with a once upon a time, and in Portuguese we start with this pretérito imperfeito, exactly with era uma vez, era uma vez.
There was a time. There
Era,
was once a time.
era is this pretérito imperfeito from the verb ser. The verb
Right,
to
very
be,
good. I
right?
love how Portuguese stories like that. Yes, it is, and I
So
guess it is as powerful to a Portuguese child or even a grown child to hear "era uma veja" as it
era
is
uma
to hear
vez.
"once upon a time." Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Okay,
in English
brilliant.
you say once upon a time, and we start with era uma vez.
Era uma
So
vez.
because you are telling a story of what happened then at that
Yes.
time, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, lovely.
once upon a time. So that for that in Portuguese we use this pretérito imperfeito.
Okay, very good.
And by the way, in the song you have the two different endings for the regular verbs in the pretérito imperfeito. You have the ave in voava, voava, because the verb, as you can see at the end of the stanza, is voar. So it ends with an A and an R. And so the AR verbs, they finish with ave. And if you conjugate all the, I, you, he, she, it's ave, aves, ave, avamos, avam. For example, the verb to fly, you would say eu voava, tu voavas, ele voava, nós voávamos, eles voavam. Then the other verbs ending in er, ir, like crescer, that
Yes.
is the verb er, the ending is er, then it's not ava any longer, it's the ia. And crescia, crescia is this verb crescer with the ending ia. For example, when you say queria café, you are using this pretérito imperfeito. Of course, not in the sense of the past in that case. That's why I said pretérito imperfeito in Portuguese, you can translate it in several ways. One way is like a conditional. I would like a coffee, right? So I would like a coffee. You say queria café.
Yes.
But this queria is also from the verb querer, the pretérito imperfeito. So even in that sentence, a simple sentence like that, you are using this tense of the verb.
Yes, and I remember you saying before that that's why there's a joke in the cafe, isn't there? Of I would like a coffee, queria un café. It's like, oh, would you? And then
Yes.
just nothing else happens. You
Yeah.
say you would like a coffee. Well, would you like it
Yeah,
now?
yes, but don't you want it now? So you would like, but what, is it for now or
I'll
what?
come back later. I'll come back later. I'm
Yes.
just letting you know now in case it gets busy.
Yeah. No, but if you say queria café, they can ask you, oh, you used to, and now you don't. So in the
Yes.
past you used to want a coffee, and now you don't. Yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
it's a joke, of course.
Yes.
That is a joke. But because of the different uses of the pretérito imperfeito, it can be used to, but it can also be I would something. So It all depends on the situation, and of course there are some rules about, for example, when you speak about your age in the past, anyone's age, not just your age, anyone's age in the past, you have to use the verb ter, because for the age in Portuguese we use the verb have, right? Ter, not the verb to be, and you have to use that in the pretérito imperfeito. You say tinha.
Right.
I used to be 20. I was 20 when, for example, when I came to Portugal, for example. So you can say, eu tinha 20 anos quando vim para Portugal. So that is a rule in Portuguese. You have to use this tinha for the age. Okay, and then, for example, the time, when you say the clock time in the past, for example, when you say, I arrived at school, it was already 9:30. Then this it was, you have to put it in this pretérito imperfeito. Of course, you could say, I arrived at 9:30. But if you want to emphasize, well, I was a bit late, it was already 9:30, then this verb, it has to be eram 9:30. Cheguei à escola, já eram 9:30. It was already 9:30. Já eram 9:30. And
Correct.
eram in the plural, because 9 is plural. So it's to do
Okay, numbers are plural. Yes, of course, after
the
one.
number of the hours, because we
Yes,
say
I
9
know.
hours, right?
Yes, okay,
So
very
they
good.
were literally, they were 9 hours. Eram 9 horas.
Yes.
Antes
So
queria café, mas agora quero café com cheirinho.
before I
Okay.
want a coffee, I'll have my coffee with a snifter, right? I'll have that now with my little bit of aguardente in there. Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you, Pete.
cheirinho.
Okay. Excellent. Good to see you this morning, Pete. And Virginia Larson as well. Olá, Filomena. Thank you for a wonderful and history-filled tour you gave us over 2 days in Coimbra. It was a joy to meet you, and we enjoyed your lovely company. It was a
Thank
year
you,
ago.
Virginia.
It was a year, wasn't it, Filomena, since we went to Berau and
It was a
Lausanne.
lovely day as well.
Yes, the weather was very different, I have to say, a year ago.
Mhm.
That's an interesting
And
memory, isn't it? Yeah.
we had the privilege of having a tour guided by the owner of Licor Beirão,
Yeah, that was
right?
amazing.
So
Really, really.
it was a
Yeah.
big privilege.
Okay,
Yes.
so quite a few comments, and we want to sing again. I've got some events from Andy from the Bairrada, and we've got a God Squad tip of the day. So I think maybe we should sing again. Or should we go out with the singing? Let's go out with the singing. Because I think Joao's enjoyed it for sure. People were saying it was lovely. So stick around and let's sing again together. And I agree with you, Joao Nesto. It does have a little bit of a lullaby quality. And maybe that's why it became such an enduring song. And maybe that's what she had in mind. Maybe Ermelinda Duarte had that in mind, that it would be sung by children for a generation. Ermelinda as well. Does that mean like beautiful sister, literally?
Linda means beautiful, yes.
But
But
like the sound of it, Ermelinda, would that be my beautiful sister, possibly?
I don't know.
No,
Melinda is a name, but
yes,
I don't
okay.
know the origin of the name.
All names mean something, don't they? I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. Right. Okay, and in this weather, there's nothing like visiting the Quinta de Fonte Nova near Sintra. It's a palace from 1743 where you can find an Italian fine dining restaurant, very charming, to enjoy this bad weather. So any more recommendations like that of being inside, that's great. Is that you, Ruto, or is that Nuno? I'm not sure. And grand canto Filomena, grand what's that? A big mouth. I'll do my best there, Pete. And yes, so vamos cantar a little bit later on, as we'll finish the show on this Feel Good Filomena Friday with singing that one more time. Before we go there, let's limber up other parts of our bodies this morning and do a God's God tip of the day from the coach. Bon dia, he says. A todos e feliz sexta. Allegedly, we'll see the sun here today in the UK, so there's a good excuse to get out and about. That is likely, of course, to involve coffee. Enjoy your day, everyone. So why not try that? Kerian Cafe in your local there in UK. God's God tip of the day. I've been trying to include 10 to 15 minutes of rowing I think that's rowing and not rowing into my day. 15 minutes of rowing. That's easy. Just get on social media. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, but I haven't quite managed it. However, I probably manage every other day, and it has been definitely making a difference. My legs and shoulders are definitely stronger, and it is improving my aerobic fitness. It's a small change to my routine, but having a significant impact. Bit of row your boat there. I wonder if there's a Portuguese equivalent of that. What small change can you make to your day? So just a little bit and often probably is, I think, what the coach is alluding to there. Thank you very much, Coach Turner, for your service all week and ever since we started the God Squad tips of the day, the gentle fitness for Bon Viveurs. Over in the Bairrada, let's see what's going on, shall we? Whilst visiting this fabulous city of Aveiro, the Venice of Portugal, get into the party spirit and visit this super festival just behind Aveiro station. That is the Aveiro Festival in Forca, would that be, in Aveiro Centre there, São Antonio de Mudo, I think. I just can't see that. Just a little bit small, that print. All of these on the Gumper map, however, if you want to check it out for yourself. Festa in Povoa de Forno, in Oliveira de Bairro, Festa Colheitas. That's the Harvest Festival, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah,
Super
Colheitas, yes.
Latino festival there with some fantastic food and entertainment. All of these mushrooming around the Bairrada area. Antiques and bric-a-brac fair in Luso Busaco. Isn't that a great place to go as well, Filomena? Love
yes, very nice, yeah.
And Lusa's a lovely town as well, where the water comes from, of course. That's the 13th. That'll be Sunday. And we've got a festival in Malhapão, Bairrada. That's a super festival with a couple of great local bands. You'll have a great time if you go to any of these, and you can practice your Portuguese and your singing and your dancing. Quiz, food and music in Amoreira de Gandara. Great evening at the old footy ground, including a quiz, music, food, drink, and fun as ever. No Zumba mentioned yet. Andy, what's happening? And, no Zumba to be mentioned. Rock music. It's all about the rock and not the Zumba for Andy on this Friday. Bairrada Metal Fest. If you're a bit of a metalhead, headbang your heart out at this great fun rock concert. And there's a delightful logo there. Of
For Bairrada.
Lovely. I think they like their rock music over in that part of Portugal there. Rock music's pretty popular across Portugal, of course. And this is a great idea. This is the Flavors of India takeover of the Prohibition bar. Gilda might come for this one. She loves it at Prohibition. So does Nuno. And hopefully we'll see you there one day as well, Filomena. This is some lovely food. We've, of course, filmed with Anila at the Flavors of India restaurant in Caldas, our Portuguese point of interest this week. And Óbidos was a former point of interest, so she's taking her Flavors of India roadshow over to Óbidos to the Prohibition bar. That will be delicious, €25 a head. And I think that needs to be booked, and it will sell out soon. Excellent stuff. Oh, and I forgot to mention, last Sunday, Claudio from your home, he did his marathon in 3 hours, 58 and 30 seconds. That's amazing, Claudio. Congratulations on that. Can you imagine running for 4 hours, Filomena, or nearly 4 hours?
Well, yeah, it must be very hard.
It is. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure. Not that I've ever done it, but the idea of like walking even for 4 hours is quite arduous.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
here in Miranda, we also have the Abutres trail, and they also run for 5 hours or something. Yeah.
And not on the flat, right? These are
no, going up and down the mountain,
What's it called? What's that activity?
It's Abutres is the name of the group that organizes trail Abutres. Trail running or something trail
running up there, and motorcyclists get up that way as well. I noticed, don't they, up and down the hills too? So amazing activities in central Portugal there. More comments before we sing again, before we vamos cantar. And we've got Pete with a shout out for the Fundão Agricultural Fair this weekend. If you can make the dancers out in the fog. So it sounds like it might be a bit foggy. Some events might get cancelled, so watch out for that. Maybe check before you go. Bon fim de semana. Keep your eye on social media. Bon fim de semana. Hi, Aviva. Hi, y'all. Bon fim de semana, y'all. Sorry, I'm late today. A nice mixture of American and Portuguese there with a bon fim de semana, y'all. Talking of American-Portuguese hybrids, if you want to do biscuits and gravy Portuguese style, here's my suggestion for you. Just get a packet of Maria biscuits, lay them out in a bowl, get some francesinha sauce, just boil that up in a pan, and then chuck it over the Maria biscuits. Job done. Follow me on Instagram for more culinary tips of that kind as well. We've got, thank you, Antonio. Teaching assistants busy. The abutres are vultures. That's the name.
Abutres, yes. And I'm checking here. The next one is going to be on the 31st of January, 1st of February, and 2nd of February. So it's from the 31st of January to the 2nd of February, and the pre-registration, I think, is already going. From the 14th of October to the 27th of October, you have the pre-registration.
There you go. Wonderful. From the Miranda vultures.
Miranda abutres.
The abutres.
Trilhos abutres.
Trail
Yes.
vultures. Fantastic. It's not Nuno. It's not Ruta. It's Amelia. Good morning to you, mon dear Amelia. Thank you for your little tips. Morning. Fantastic. Apparently your dad was an amazing runner and Paolo has the agility of a mountain goat as well, says Pete. And before we
Yes,
sing,
my father was a runner, yes.
was he? So he loved running up
Yes.
in those hills as well. Incredible. I'm trying to find a decent app to learn European Portuguese. Any suggestions? What's currently your favorite app, Filomena? Oh, hold on a minute. There they are.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's ridiculous. They'll hurt themselves. Stop it. Fantastic.
Look at this.
They call that fun, don't they? Wrong with it. Okay.
But the landscape.
It's going to be lovely. Once you've done that, fantastic.
Right?
You want some
Fantastic
stout boots
landscape.
or not flipping trainers doing that. Okay. And that's extraordinary. Oh, that lovely bridge there. That's perfectly safe.
It is. It is.
I'm sure it is. But like when you've got 20 people running across.
In the Chist, you pass the Chist villages with the old stone houses. Very lovely villages.
I bet they're glad of that. A nice bit of flat pavement to run on for a couple of 100 meters. Excellent.
And a lot of support from everyone. A lot
people
of support.
shouting and cheering, leaning out of the schist cottages, shout, "Come on, vamos embora!" Okay, excellent. The World of Champions. They're world champions.
Because this is part of the World Championship.
Incredible.
So,
I'm not alone in this, apparently, Filomena. Some other people give visiting cats names. João Ernesto here, they're visiting cats who come and get a snack and a little drink of water from outside their house, called Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, and Nefertiti. Distinguished gentlemen and ladies all, very good. I smiled and waved with hola to an older woman as we passed on the street where I live, and she immediately struck up a conversation with me. That moment. I delivered my stuff. So far un poco Portuguese. Didn't phase him on.
He speaks a lot of Portuguese.
He does. He's being a bit too modest there, possibly.
Yes.
Manuel julgo ser Manuel João Vieira que tem versão desta canção com letra.
If he is from the north, of course he has a spicy version of the song.
They're a bit rude, that lot, aren't they?
If they are from the north, of course they have another version
always
of the
swearing
song.
all the time. Yeah. And what I like about this as well is now when Portuguese people, before emojis, he or ha for Portuguese people is isn't it? Is 4 or 5 Ks. If you see that on a text from a Portuguese person, it means they're giggling at the other end, which I absolutely love there. That's fantastic. Okay. Vamos cantar. Let's sing one more time.
Vamos cantar. The first stanza?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get it onto the screen and let's sing it one more time. The lovely poem turned into a song that many people remember from, of course, the Carnation Revolution. Somos Livres by Ermelinda Duarte. Please take it away and I'll join in. And please join in at home as well. Come on, folks. Let's do this. Let's go into the weekend singing.
Okay. So... Uma gaivota voava, asas de vento, coração de mar. Uma gaivota voava, asas de vento, coração de mar. Como ela, somos livres. Somos livres de voar como ela. Somos livres, somos livres de voar.
Well, let's do that chorus one more time, everybody. And you at home, I can see you're not singing. Here we go. Como ela, somos. Where are you, Filomena? Somos
I'm
livres,
listening to you.
somos livres de voar.
Muito bem.
Como
Como ela, somos
somos
livres,
livres,
somos livres
Big finish.
de voar.
Excellent. Thank
Muito
you so much.
bem,
Well done, everybody. Look, we've made the sun come out in UK. Hey, how about that? And Chris, we made and Rima come out as well. Love to you two guys as well. Thank you for being here. Filomena, it's 10 o'clock. Please have a lovely weekend. A bom fim de semana. And muito obrigado from all
Bom fim de semana, divirtam-se.
Yeah, divirtam-se. And love to you and the family and everybody in Miranda.
Obrigada.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We shall see you on Monday with a new one of these. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Ontem apenas fomos a voz sufocada de um povo a dizer não quero. Fomos os bobos do rei, mastigando o desespero. Ontem apenas fomos um povo a chorar na sarjeta dos que à força ultrajaram e venderam esta terra hoje nossa, esta terra hoje nossa. Uma gaivota voava, voava, asas de vento, coração de mar. Esta canção, Somos Livres, nasceu no palco do Teatro Vaz de Santana, faz em setembro um ano, na peça Lisboa 72-74. A peça acabou e Somos Livres continuou, passou para a rua. Foi cantada e é cantada por ceguinhos, é cantada por crianças nas escolas, nas ruas. Eu ouvia cantar em manifestações e creio que é a melhor coisa que pode acontecer a uma canção. É ir de facto para a rua. Uma papoila crescia, crescia, grito vermelho num campo qualquer. Uma papoila crescia, crescia, grito vermelho num campo qualquer. Como ela, somos livres, somos livres de crescer. Como ela, somos livres, somos livres de crescer. Uma criança dizia, dizia, Quando for grande não vou combater. Uma criança dizia, quando for grande não vou combater. Como ela somos livres de dizer. Como ela somos livres de dizer. Somos um povo que cerra fileiras, parta a conquista do pão e da paz. Somos um povo que cerra fileiras, parta a conquista do pão e da paz. Somos livres, não voltaremos atrás.